Darwin's Game, episode 2. So in this episode we basically have um this treasure hunt going on, this as sort of a backdrop will lead up to this treasure hunt that we'll find out at the end of the episode. So basically Shuzua and Kaname team up, and Shuzua has definitely got the hots for Kaname. And it turns out that that whole family thing that she was talking about, well, I think it was sort of a tease to fans of like a future relationship. She's more or less talking about creating like a clan, like what Ace has and what you find in like Clash of Clans and stuff and all those online games. And so, but she can make one, but he can't because he's too low level. And she's like, well, you should do it because you're the boy, sort of that girly, flirty. She wants him to get used to the game. She wants him to get enveloped into her world. So she takes him to around Shubara to different lays of land, to different locales to get the lay of the land, and she calls it a date. They eat crepes. They go to different areas. They make a big deal about this park in there, and if I'm not mistaken, that to me seems like the park where they got the statue of the dog Hachi. But I'm not from Japan, so that might have just been a reference to it or something. If any of y'all do know of that park and what it is about, if it's a real place, then yeah. But she basically says that that's a likely spot where it could be, and so she also again flirts with him, saying, "Well, this is a traditional date spot," and then she goes and um he goes and is like, well, why are you playing this game? And she's like, well, you gotta let me have my secrets. But it's pretty clear that whatever got her started into the game, she's not just hooked for survival. There's a part of her that actually enjoys this, and it's interesting to see how she's normal on the outside, but when she gets in the game, it's like to her it is just a game. And then we come to find out that yes, these points that you occur can be used to sort of protect yourself for a week. Basically, take yourself off the rankings where no other players can see you. That doesn't help, like if someone bumps into you and then they want to challenge you, but it does decrease the opportunities for you to be getting into battle, and that costs 10 points. Evidently, you can actually trade in those points for real world cash by redeeming them that way. And so Kaname does just 10 points just to see what it was. He then goes to like a convenience store and um thinks about getting some money out. He had 50,000 yen, which 50,000 basically a yen is what I think would be the equivalent of maybe a little bit more than a US penny. So he probably had a good, I would say, $50 in there as far as US. And then it turned out to be a million yen. So if you think about it, he it so if you no 5,000 would be $50. So if you think about it, he had $500 in the bank account, and then it went to a million yen, which is basically 20 times that. So 20 times $500. That is like literally um that is literally like, let's see, two $500 is 1,000. So that would be that would basically, I think, would equal about $10,000. I could be wrong on the math there. I'm not a mathematician, but anyway, that just shows you, like, if you were a very good player, and it says that like he got like 643 points. So think if he would have converted all those points into just pure cash. There are some people out there that'll just go for the cash and just live it up. But as he pointed out, it doesn't matter how big your bank account is if you're dead. But that also goes back to episode 1 when he was talking to Coda about, hey, you and Hanama are always rolling in money, so that tells me they were converting the money into cash. Real interesting though is that Shizua, the girl, her she is from like probably a rich family because she had a nice apartment and stuff, and she said you can convert the points into cash, but I really wouldn't do that unless it's absolutely necessary. So that means that she's well off to do. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Ba- Basically, we have this guy. We don't know who he is. We see him, and he's calling up the informant girl from last episode that I forgot to mention. And so she basically gives him all the dirt on Kaname that she's got for points, essentially. And so remember, points are a form of currency. They're basically a form of life force too, because if you get 0 points, you get instantly teleported, game over, probably death or enslavement. We don't know, but and we come to find out she's going to be selling it to 3 other people. So so there's him that knows everything about Kaname, and so while he's doing that, we then fast back over to Kaname and Shizua, and Shizua is trying on outfits, and it's sort of, for a second, it's like a mini slice of life moment. And this goes back to what I say. Shizua sounds on the outside to a normal person, completely normal girl wanting to get new clothes. But the fact is, she's about to go into this event that could very well cost her life, but she's used to this, so it's just normal. There's nothing she can do. Where Kaname is freaking out, and then that other guy basically, gets Kaname's attention. Kaname follows the guy. The guy takes Kaname's phone, and basically we understand that while he basically explains to us and Kaname that while somebody can't take your phone and basically set set matches, you know, up against you, if you don't have your phone, you can't, um, you can't buy shelters to protect yourself. You can't see you can't see who your opponent is. And even if you could, there without the map function, there's no way to track your opponent. So essentially, you're screwed without your phone, and so then Kaname follows him to a spot, and he's like, and Kaname is like, here, give me back my phone, and the guy tosses him the phone, and he's like, time for Darwin's game, and oh, he mentioned something. He mentioned something very interesting. He mentions time for D game. I forgot to mention that when Kaname and Shuzua are on a date, that that Shuzua basically tells Kaname, you don't want to say Darwin's game out too loud, because someone in charge of them hears you talking about the game is prohibited in the rules, and you could get game over, which means instantly teleported, which means death or enslavement or whatever. You know, so people call it the game or D game for death or Darwin's game. So yeah, so he he fights Kaname. He ends up knocking Kaname down, and the guy's like, "Are you and Shujo working together?" And Kaname's trying to protect her, and it's like, "No, we're not working together." And he's like, "Don't you lie to me." And Kaname's like, "Don't you underestimate me." And he basically conjures up a stun gun and stuns it up against him. And then they continue to fight some more, and then Shujo comes in at the last minute and basically scares the guy, and he goes back. And then turns out that Kaname, during the struggle, got the guy's phone and has pressed the stun gun to the guy's phone because he knows if he fries the phone, the guy's basically screwed. So the guy backs off, and so they call it a draw and stuff. And so they get talking like they're both in high school and stuff. And as they start talking, they have less than a minute before the game, the event, and then once the event it hits zero, the blocks that were on that panda guy last time, started appearing around them. And Shizu was like, "Calm down. It's just teleportation. The people are gonna teleport you to the game." And they're like, and Kadame is like, I mean, Shizu was like, "There's no guarantee we'll be near each other, so let's try to find each other as soon as we can." And before he could say anything, boom, they're teleported. And we basically find out is there's 300 people in Shuzor right now. And what they got to do is they have to secure free rings before the 1 day, I believe it's 1 day timer is out. And if they don't, then it'll be instant game over, instant teleportation or death or enslavement, whatever you think. And so the information girl who also got teleported says, "I don't think management will have enough rings set out for everyone." So of course they want people to kill the competition to attain free rings. And so we get a demonstration where this young girl basically gets teleported near Wang, and then Wang um basically she basically thinks she can take on Wang. She throws like a paper at him, and he's like, "You got a death wish, girly," and she uses her signal, and it lights the paper on fire, and it's supposed to burn him up, like it's supposed to be 4,000 degrees. But then all of a sudden we hear this sound, and we see an explosion, and we see her being tossed over the side of the building, and then she's like, what happened?" And then boom, she hits the ground and blood splatters, and then just her graffiti outline. So we know she's dead, and it goes to 299 people. But what I also find interesting is going back to that information girl, is while Kaname was talking with the other guy who was trying to battle him, apparently Shizuo was talking to that information girl and trying to get information about Wang and stuff. But then Shizuo but then the information girl's like, "You want to hear what I've got on that probably new viewer who beat you?" And it's like her expression changed, like, "You tell me everything or you'll die." Basically, she's letting the girl know she's not paying for this information, that she'll hunt her down because now she's become protective of Kaname. So it's really interesting. Right now I can't tell if like they'll have a legitimately friendship, but she, in her mind, seems to have, when Kaname beat her and she surrendered to him, whether it's pretty clear it might lead to a romantic relationship, but in her mind, she's protective of Kaname. So yeah, that's pretty much what all happened, and I think this episode was interesting. All right, let's say a prayer. Dear Lord, I thank you for this day, and I thank you for everything you give me, God. Thank you for allowing me to record 2 episodes of Darwin's Game and today, after all the trouble I've had with copyright issues and stuff, and may lots of people enjoy this video, and may lots of people subscribe, Lord, and keep on us away, and forgive me for all my sins. And you pray, amen. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you've got a prayer request you want to you want me to pray for you, like at work or school or just a general prayer request, you don't have to get too detailed. You know there are people out there, and you shouldn't give away too much information. But if you say, please pray for me at school or at work or something like that, something simple, then I will definitely do that. And I believe God will help you in whatever situation you're in. All right. Bye, guys.